Hello, good evening. Um, just a little candlelight chat this evening. I hope everybody's doing okay, and for the few of you who listen to me, I really appreciate it. Thank you. I just had a few things going through my head because of all the current stuff that's going on. I was thinking back to, and I had to look it up. When was it that Clarence Thomas, CT is what I'll call him, when CT was put to the Supreme Court, and it was 1991. And I was thinking back, well, what other major things had happened prior to then besides the AIDS epidemic, which was during my high school years, but also I stayed home the day that the Challenger blew up, and I saw it live on TV. That was 1986. And, in my early years, there was Vietnam, and my dad was in the military, but I was so young. But I remember on the news that it was put to us that this woman, Anita Hill, was accusing him of some form of harassment in a sexual manner. So, and it was implied in a way that he was guilty. And so naturally, because nothing like this had really ever been on television before that I knew of, especially something of a explicit manner like this. I mean, these kind of things, I guess, weren't made public, but this was for all to see. And it was during these congressional hearings that I finally sat there, and it was publicized, because remember, this is before the computers, before everything. 21 years old, and I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm watching her, and I'm watching him, and I believe he was, like towards the end to speak. This went on and on, and I just remember watching him and just have this overwhelming feeling that this man is telling the truth, and they're railroading him. Despite what everybody else was saying, despite what I was hearing on television and the news and whatever back then, despite all that, just to sit there and watch them and really focus, I could see it. I could hear the truth, I could see it, and I was just devastated for him. Just absolutely devastated for him. And that's the first time I got a glimpse of what can go on. But then, life happens, and, you're young, and you think this is some sort of anomaly, and he did get put onto the Supreme Court, so, okay, well, it ended up okay. But you're not really thinking as to why at that age. Why would they do this? Why? Because it's not like it had happened just recently. This was, everything gets told sometimes years later when it's to their advantage, and it's just awful, because there's so many women that are victims out there, and some women who come with any kind of false accusations makes it 10 times worse for those who actually have grounds. Anyway, and now here we are. And also, he was the first African American on the Supreme Court. And today they're just like negating it because of the new Supreme Court justice that was just signed in. Like, he doesn't even exist. I mean, what an insult. And it doesn't matter what side you're on with the issue. It's just, they're angry about right now that the Supreme Court decided on. What happened is that people kept forcing it and taking it further and taking it further and taking it further and taking it further. And 15 weeks isn't enough. We got to have 20-something weeks, and then we got to have 30-something weeks, and we got to have, full term, and then maybe even a month after, whatever. Just pushing it, and then pushing it right up the legal system. Appeals court after appeal after appeal, and, and then it finally gets up to the Supreme Court. In 1973, they stated that women had a constitutional right to an abortion. When you force it back to the Supreme Court, and I don't know why they decided that, because if you go and look really hard, if you actually read your Constitution, which most people in the United States have not, sadly, it's not in there. There is no language that you can manipulate, interpret, anything that even comes close to saying that we have that right in the Constitution. So, it's states' rights to grant it or not grant it. It's states' rights. And that's the way it is. That's the way it's set up. Period. End of story. But if they had left well enough alone and not kept forcing it, it never would have reached the Supreme Court again, and maybe we would have, whatever, whichever side you're on, which I'm sorry, I'm just not for. I know there are medical reasons, yes, and there are rape and incest and those sorts of things, and those should be handled on an individual basis, and all money and resources should go to those people to help them in their tragedies. But to use it as a form of birth control of some kind, which is what is happening a lot, is, I don't understand, okay? I don't understand. When there are other forms of birth control readily available to all women that weren't available to, the generation right above me. And even when I was younger, it was more difficult to get it. You're talking about having to go to a doctor, get a prescription, and all these sorts of things. You can just go to a clinic or something. That didn't happen. Not easily. Certainly not in your more suburban or rural areas. Maybe there might be one in a bigger city or something where you could get something, but it was not convenient. It became more and more inconvenient in time. Now there's no excuse. We have gotten a lot. We've progressed a lot, and it's just not good enough. All the previous things, all the rights, everything that has been accomplished is just ignored. And the laws are there. They're written. The rights are there. Your state, you in your community vote on whether or not, or your state. You can divide it down into districts, counties, whatever. You can rewrite it to your legislature, and, you decide in certain other areas of whether or not that will be allowed. or the whole state itself. But you could still go to another state if that's what you believe. But the problem was, it existed. It wasn't really truly constitutional, but because people pushed the issue, they lost it. I pray to God we can pull this country back. I pray. But it's truly not looking good. But then, it's so corrupt, maybe it just needs to fall apart at this point. But then that makes us weak. And when we're weak, then, God forbid somebody else comes in here. You better hang on to every right you have left. Because we all know historically what happens to people who lose their rights. We all know historically what happens to people who lose their rights. Their right to free speech, their right to bear arms, the right to a judicial process, which some aren't getting, a speedy judicial process. Some aren't even getting that. And then the ones that shouldn't get a speedy process, they're just being sped right on through, right out the door after doing some horrendous things. It just depends on what they want. Right now they don't want any law and order. They want us to destroy ourselves. If y'all can't see what's going on, I don't know what to say. I have no idea what to say. They're destroying the population. They're destroying our whole structure, everything we've ever relied on, in every way they possibly can. But, people say what a wonderful job they're doing. Because they get to go run down the street half naked, wearing whatever they want, acting however they want to. So in their world, this is fantastic. It's truly, truly good versus evil at this point. And these people are being used. They're not being helped like they need to be helped. They're being allowed to run wild and do further damage to themselves. And all because truly they don't care. Our education system is garbage because truly they don't care. They have what they need. They have what they want. They have power. They live behind a wall of protection. But they don't want us to have any protection. They don't want us to be around at all. Truly. So maybe we'll get back to survival of the fittest. The smartest, too. And We'll see. I pray every day. I pray I'm wrong. I pray that I'm not. It's just me being pessimistic, and I always say I'm a realist, but maybe I'm pessimistic. But, I mean, I'm seeing it. It's right in front of my face. I have to, double take and read things 2 or 3 times to make sure I'm reading what I'm reading. Or, I'm really seeing what I'm seeing here. I am. That's what I'm seeing. Or play it twice, because did they really say that? Is that what they said? Because none of it makes any sense. They're allowed to talk like that. They're allowed to speak like that, speak to us like that. If I got up there and said anything like that, I'd be laughed off the stage or booed off the stage or whatever. And they're just out in the audience clapping. Are you kidding me? What is going on? Am I living in some sort of parallel universe? And, we're coexisting, but we're not really? What is going on here? That's what it feels like. Truly, the Twilight Zone. I woke up one day and it's 2022 and it was 1991 and CT is back on the screen and he's being negated as a black man and not being even given credit as being the first, and was humiliated in 1991, and they're trying to humiliate him again. How many years is that? How many years is that? Also, 33 years ago. 33. Is there something with the number 33? I don't know. It's just a damn shame. I truly feel sorry for that man. They say he's the kindest man, and one of the Supreme Court judges says he knows everybody's name in the office and is always pleasant, and he's just following the Constitution, which is what should have been done. Our Constitution's been butchered for decades, and because of its butchering, we're in the position we're in today. If we just follow what was written, we'd be fine. The only way that the Constitution has not been good in any sense is that men have taken the words and manipulated them so it would fit their needs and just flat out lied about what it said to a dumb population. Anyway, other than that, I'm doing really well. I know. Y'all just get to hear me bitch. It's sad, but I'm really a nice person. I'm really a pleasant person to be around. I don't have a whole lot of close friends because it's hard for me to... I get along with everybody, but I don't really want to hang around those people. And it's just a way for me to document who I am and one day who I was for my children. That's all. You don't have to agree with me. And we can always change our minds. That's my prerogative. But the older you get, you kind of do get set in your ways. Because by this point, you should know better. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who have no morals and values, so they never have any sense of knowing better. what's better for everyone. It's only what's best for themselves. So, and there's a lot of people that owe others a lot, and they'll do anything to not have whatever it is that person has on them exposed, or they'll take whatever they need under the table. It looks like a wonderful world from a distance, but it's quite the dark, dark world they live in. It's a very pretty hell, but it's still hell. So, I don't envy them at all. I really don't. Because I'm halfway through here, or probably more than halfway through here, and I know this is going to be a blip on the radar compared to eternity. And I don't envy them theirs, whatever that looks like. But I hope all of you are doing well, remaining good, and remember, surviving also means when you leave here, you take everything with you intact, your dignity. That's also surviving. So, survival of the fittest. Many of us with good souls and good hearts are truly the fittest. Y'all hang in there. And I will talk to you later. Bye for now.